Monday Funday.
Monday, Funday.
Monday Funday.
Monday, Funday. So we're live. I think we got some of our singing beforehand. Welcome, everybody. Today's episode number 7, and we're talking about a bit of a darker episode, I would say, today, a bit of a more realistic in your face, punch you in the gut episode today. And that's going to be talking about burnout. From patients, from high performance clients. Like Andrew, how many people tell you they're burnt out? Isn't that kind of one of the big ways that they even find us?
There isn't anybody that doesn't have an energy deficit that I work with on a more practitioner approach on the business side, the doctor side, and then on the patient side, Ricky. I mean, isn't that exactly what you saw from me when I came in?
Yeah, from you, all of us are guilty of it. I've been burnt out more times than I can count, and each time I learned a new way to cope with it. But it wasn't until I lined all my ducks up that I realized how to prevent burnout, how to keep your energy high at all time, how to stay in this state of peak and high performance all the time. So today, what we're going to jump into is how we came here to this given point, talking about burnout. Like, who the hell are we, right? Like, why are we talking about preventing burnout, reclaiming your energy? It's because we've been there. Andrew's been there, and again, multiple times, right? It's not just been once in life. Like you guys have heard me tell this story a billion times. I used to sleep till 2 p.m. if nobody woke me up. I lived in a burnout condition, right? So it's just crazy how many people are going like that. And one of the things we were talking about this morning was, what is it right now? It's the new year. And you're supposed to hit a new year refreshed, looking good, feeling good about yourself. But I'm sure most of you people listening, and actually even us to a certain degree, we probably didn't rest as much during the holidays. We're probably actually starting the year already burnt out and not with a full tank. And what's going to come? Everything's going to come on your desk. You're going to have all of these projects to manage, tasks to do, things to come up, your New Year's resolution. You're going to try to hit up the gym 4 times a week and cook all your meals and kind of take on all of this. You're going to get burnt out before the year even starts, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that's sort of the funny part is we first of all have to look at energy as not something we got to cope with. It's something that we need to honor. I mean, energy is everything. It moves mass. It helps you become faster, more efficient, right? E equals MC squared. Mass at the speed of light squared. So if you want to move heavier objects in life, like your relationships, you want to move your career, your business, you want to move to another country, you just want to get that inertia, right? That resistance to motion moving, and you want to pick it up and you want to do it faster. You want to get through things and feel like at the end of the day, you're like, wow, I did a lot while I was working and I feel great. And I got more time to spare. So energy, it isn't one of these foo-foo things where it's like, you only get it if you say namaste 10 times, right? Like, energy is everything. It is the building blocks of our entire universe. And what's really cool is you have the ability to create a lot of it. Now, the key is you don't have energy, right? Ricky and I don't just have it. Like, you guys work for LPI. You must get like energy shipped in and like you got like this like skid of energy and you just inject it. The serum goes in our IV.
We're drinking the LPI Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Like energy is not a given, right? Energy comes with a responsibility. And if you don't have energy, what do you then do? You generate it, right? Just like a power plant. It doesn't just have energy and you just kind of, that's good. We built up a power plant building. Here comes the energy. No, they have to create the turbines, the systems, the reactors, all these sequence of events. So what are the sequences in your life that have gotten your energy to the point it has? Now, Ricky, I want to go back a sec, because why are we talking about energy? Is it just because we're in the new year? Well, maybe I've gotten used to coming into the new year in years past where I didn't take care of myself over Christmas. I ate a little much, I drank a little much, I didn't go to sleep. There was all these Christmas parties and stuff like that. So Ricky, take me back to a time so we can let everybody know that we're energy burnout like experts. We're both experts in burnout.
Yeah, and Andrew had asked me this question on one of our high performance sessions, and it was, hey, when was the last time you felt energetic? So everybody listening, just close your eyes, go back and like be very honest with yourself. When was the last time you felt amazing energy? You woke up with a smile on your face? I'm guessing for the majority of people here, it's probably going to be sometime in their childhood. I know it took me back to I think it was like grade 7 was what came to mind, where I'm like, you know what? I used to wake up then excited about school. I used to get up early, like the second my eyes opened, I was out of bed, never had to hit snooze, never have to just ask for 5 more minutes of sleep, just get up, go. But most people, they haven't experienced that for a while. Now, couple reasons why, and we're going to dive into these very, very deep. But one of them is just what's pulling you out of bed. So I know in one of the more recent sessions with Andrew and our high performance training and the long journey I've been on and how far I've come in just a short period of time, he asked me, he's like, what's different about you now? Like, how are you coming up with all of this energy? How are you getting through these busy days and not feeling tired at the end, whereas before you were? And I told him, I'm like, before I was like being dragged out of bed. I had to like peel myself out like Velcro. But now my goals, the things I'm working on, the passions that I have in my life, they're literally grabbing me out of bed and just throwing me into a standing position, right? I'm waking up with great energy. And then the key thing, like Andrew said, is you have to continue to make energy. You don't just get blessed with energy. Yeah. People who have high energy, they're high performers, they're productive. This is a constant work in progress. So we're going to talk about some practical tips from you, but people are dehydrated. They're eating like crap. They're not moving their body. They're in a sitting position. One of the big things that I talk to my patients about is your body's going to follow what you introduce to it, what you create demand for. So for me, for example, if I wanted to look like Andrew and have these 50-inch biceps, I can't sit in a desk and just type away all day, right? That's not the right stimulus. And even 30 minutes, 60 minutes, even 2 hours in a gym every night may not be enough stimulus for me to get those arms, right? So people are sitting all day. Why the hell is your body going to give you energy if you sit all day? It doesn't make any sense, right? So you have to create these demands. Yeah. Same thing like weight loss is another one, right? So that's another part of energy. Like you feel burnt out as you start to gain weight. And so many people come to me, they're like, I haven't lost weight. And then you kind of dissect what they've been doing. Yeah, they changed their diet a little bit. Yeah, they started moving a little bit more, but they haven't undone all of that. Your body doesn't make a mistake. If you're 200 pounds right now, it's because your body has determined that your specific environment, the food you put in your body, the amount you move, the amount of stress in your life, your inflammation levels, all of that into account, 200 pounds is the perfect weight for you. And that's usually a tough pill to swallow. And that's the honest pill to swallow, because unless you're willing to create a demand where your body is going to function better at 190, at 180, at 170, you're not going to move in that direction. So with burnout, like with me, it used to be all the way back in middle school. I used to wake up, and then once I hit high school and maybe I started having classes that I didn't like, one of the big changes for me actually around grade 7 was I started eating out a lot more. So prior to that, it used to be a lot of homemade meals. My mom used to pack lunch for me. But starting back then, I still remember I used to get a toonie for lunch. And for the American watchers, that's a $2 coin here in Canada. And a toonie in those days would get me a pizza slice and a pop, or a poutine and a pop, or a Jamaican patty and a pop. And like this was my diet. And it caught up with me in around grade 10 is when I remember really starting to feel these energy issues, really sleeping in like, and I used to brag about it. I'm like, yeah, Saturday, I'm going to sleep until 2 p.m. Right. So from there, it's been a long journey. And even through school, even through career, even through being a functional medicine practitioner, I've kind of gone on these highs and lows until now, until I finally developed clarity. So that was my big journey with burnout. And I'm sure I'm going to hit tipping points eventually in my life. Like we all take on more than we can chew off. And when you're trying to have an impact with the world, you do it. And this is what wakes me up in the morning. But guess what? I also have to work on the foundations that create energy. So Andrew, tell us about your journey with burnout.
Well, I mean, I've definitely been very fortunate that I didn't hit burnout at other points in my life, because I had a lot of extreme behavior. it wasn't enough to just have a couple of drinks, right? In university, I'd be pre-drinking for hours and hours, sometimes a whole day. And then we go to the bar, right? So there was a lot of behavior there that, you go to bed at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And then next day you get up for class. It's for 7 a.m. and you find your way to class. Like, it was no wonder that I kind of started coming down with strep in university, right? So, if I was taking on extracurricular habits like drinking and partying, and I wasn't quite invested in my health. Like I would do a stir fry, but then there'd be the craft dinner, and there'd be the stir fry because my menu routine didn't change that much, and then there would be like a heavy Mexican plate where, no word of a lie, I'd have to lie down sometimes after I ate, and I had to lie on a pillow.
Oh man.
So part of like what Ricky, and I'll tell you how it kind of grew to that point where, I became a someone really in need. I decided that, that behavior wasn't really working, but I continually abused myself. Right. And I'm sure some of you, or, people like that, where, food is something that numbs you. And instead of feeling that anxiety of, work or something, a challenge over there, a relationship, we use food and drink to numb that. And so if we're trying to experience greater levels of energy, we can't be numbing ourselves. So again, what we're going to give you today are some tips in order to use energy to really change and set the intention of how you want to feel. So everything kind of crashed in my early 30s. An adrenaline-filled intimate relationship. It was super intense. A purposeless position that I was in at work. I was waiting for the weekend to come, and it was like, okay, let's stay up late, let's eat whatever. Even when I wasn't hungry, it's like, oh, food's amazing. Oh, let's have some drinks. Let's get high. And it was just like thing where it was just like, it would. I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. Monday morning came, and I felt like I got my energy back Wednesday. And then Thursday night, I'm like, okay, well, tomorrow's Friday, and there it starts again. So we're definitely creative enough at like, you can see things the way you want, but you can either have results and actions that get you further, or you can make excuses. And I was making excuses. I didn't know any better. So, but I knew that there was a higher purpose for me. I didn't know quite what that was, but it all kind of came tumbling down. And although I went and became a student in functional medicine, care of Reed Davis at FDN, then I went and studied with Paul Chek, holistic lifestyle consultant. I gave up all the clean living products I was selling, saying, I'm done selling shower filters and all that stuff because my product's crumbling. So I decided to become the product. And Sean Croxton inspired me to do that at Laurie Kennedy's Wellness Business Summit, where he was on stage. And that was the day I was like, you know what? I'm done selling other people's products. I'm the product, and other people want to be their own product. Let's get it on. So it all kind of came to a point where I thought I was able to get my energy back on. My hormones were gone. I was in stage 3 adrenal dysfunction. My immune system was shut off. The TAs, the teacher assistants at FDN, literally, I remember one of them calling me, I'll never forget this, and she goes, Andrew, are you sure your health isn't worse than you're describing? Like, you said you have some breathing challenges, like allergies and some low energy. Like, they're looking at my hormonal panel, and they're saying, like, Andrew, this is serious. And that was when I knew I needed to start being smarter about it. So I became a Buteyko breathing practitioner. And this started the training and certification that had always been my hobby in my 20s, learning all these things. But even after all that, I still felt like something wasn't right on the inside because I wasn't thinking right on the upside. So I came into Ricky's office, and within an hour, having run no tests, he already knew what was likely going on. And he told me this later on, by the way. He didn't make any assumptions. Don't hear me wrong. He made notes about what he believed was going on. And when the test results came back, he confirmed, but he didn't plant the bias in my head to start. But he's like, wow, man, like, sounds like you're really a hard worker. And, you know, there's some things that have really happened. And so that was a piece where I really started getting my energy back, and I owned it. And guess what? It was from the inside. Started with my intestinal tract, and it had expanded and impacted my breathing and my mental capacities and function. And going further than that, once Ricky helped me get to that level where I felt like I could go out there and start eating the world a little more and playing with that, I then got into high performance, and the rest is history. So the question I have before I hand it back to Ricky is, how do you start your morning? How do you create energy? How do you generate energy in the morning, right? Do you listen to something inspirational, or do you put on something negative? Do you put the news on in the morning, CP24? Come on. Like, we need to care about like some random incident that happened. Like, when you're creating your own economy and your own news, right? So, you know, are you putting on a positive message? Are you creating a positive message? And so how I start my day is I get excited. I'm like, what am I excited about today? So one thing that I teach people is that high performers, they ask themselves questions. And this allows their psychology to go where that excitement is. And guess what? It's not that it's raining outside, that I owe $25,000, that my spouse is no longer treating me well. Good. Treat yourself well, generate energy, and watch what changes around you. So starting the morning, right? How do you engage your morning? And we can go into routine, but we're going to go in, and that's another episode. That's another episode. Okay, it's a huge. And I'll take you around my high performance headquarters, and I'll show you what I do. And I know Ricky will do the same. So asking yourself questions, what am I excited about? And then here's the big one. I want to hand this back to you, Ricky. What is the emotion you're feeling when you're burning out? So if it's in the afternoon or in the morning or at night, that emotion you're feeling of burnout or stress, and you simply elevate that with food or drug or alcohol or habitual programming and escapism through the TV, that's the emotion you're experiencing. What are you going to do about it? Instead, why don't we focus on the feeling we want to generate? What are the thoughts? What are the actions that we can create? Because the feeling I want is to be I want to feel good. I want to do great work. I want people to know that I'm here to help them. I can't do that if I'm reacting to my emotions. And so the more you go for the intention, you'll start living an intentional life, and you'll start taking on actions and thinking that line up with there. And I know that was a big one for you, Ricky.
Yeah, and the key thing you said there was the feeling, right? Because if you really think about anything we do in life, it's for the feeling, right? And all marketing companies know this, car company know this. Like, why do people want to drive BMWs? Why do they want to drive Audis? It's because of the feeling they get while they drive it. So the commercials are all about the feeling you would get if you drove one. Same thing with food, right? So everything we do is to achieve a feeling. And what are you trying to feel? If you're trying to feel energetic and the first thing you do in the morning is reach for your phone, just get all this crap junk light in your eyes, first thing in the morning, there goes your energy levels for the day. And we don't even realize how like one little push, little thing that we do starts off that domino effect that just nukes your energy by the end of the day. You're going to be making poor decisions with food. But the big thing here is what are you doing to create that feeling? So like Andrew said, you got to be surrounding yourself with things that energize you. So we'll talk about our routines in a different episode, but some of the things that people can do, some of the things that people aren't doing is creating energy. So one of the big things that came to my knowledge this year, and one of the things that was definitive proof that you can create energy, is we did this big doctor practitioner event. We train clinicians as a part of Living Proof in a mentorship program. And we did a big event called Perfect Practice. And we had some of the most heart-centered practitioners come to join us for an amazing weekend. And while we wanted to deliver the most value we could, the most knowledge we could, the days went really, really long. They started at 8 a.m. and some days we were closing the day at like 8 p.m. But guess what? Not a single person came up to me and was like, that's too much, or hey, I'm feeling crap energy. And we were running on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Do you know why? We had Mr. Andrew Skopik on stage multiple times throughout the day, and he was leading us through an energizing routine. So we would just start moving. And even now, Andrew has told me, he's like, according to research, you want to move your body around every 52 minutes, do something to stop yourself from bottoming out. So with me, I can't say I'm perfect with 52 minutes, but guess what? I'm usually perfect with 60 minutes. And I try to win where I can. So my profession involves me having one-on-one consults with patients. And when I'm having these, most of them are face-to-face. So I'm in a chair, but I do get phone consults. I do get video consults as well. If you guys ever are on the phone with me for a phone consult, you won't see me, but I'm pacing around my room. I'm walking, I'm staying constantly moving. If it's a video conference, I actually like to stand at I have a little standing desk attachment in my office. So we're creating energy throughout the day. And this is why even looking back on your life, like when you're the most active, you could be on 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but you're going to be energized all day long. And that was proof for me that energy can be created. Now, we have multiple energy systems, and I won't get too technical on you guys, but you make energy from your cells, you have brain-based energy, you have hormonal-based energy. There's several systems that create energy in your body. And like Andrew said, if you're someone who's been dealing with really crappy energy for a really long time, and you've tried a lot of the steps and tips we're going to give you right now, it might be something deeper. It might be an infection. It might be a hormonal imbalance. It actually might be that you're just full of toxins and your cells can't fire the way they're intended to fire. So one of the big things I learned is creating energy. So some of the things I do throughout the day to create energy, I start my day, I wake up, I don't check my phone for the first 30 to 45 minutes. I don't even take it out of airplane mode. So I'll go downstairs, I'll fill up about an 800 milliliter bottle here, I'll chug the whole thing. So right off the bat, you're already 800 milliliters in the surplus. You start off hydrated. Then I'll do a quick movement routine. So I'll stretch, I'll just do a couple of light kind of yoga transitions, and that'll help me get going. Or I have a chin-up bar in the next room to me here in my home office, and I'll just go hang off of it. So you'll just get some movement going, decompress your spine. So you can start there. And then as the day progresses, you can't be stuck to a chair. You can't be glued to a chair. I'm actually at my standing desk right now for this podcast. So we're constantly trying to win where we can, but you need to keep that continuous movement going. You also want to get outside. You want to get fresh sunlight. And even in the winter here, sunlight is still there. Even on a cloudy day, you're still getting some UVB radiation, which is the good radiation from the sun, and you're getting the right spectrum of light. So make sure that you're constantly moving. And I know Andrew is just a machine with suggestions. And the key thing here is we can give you 50 suggestions, but guess what? If you run with the most practical 4 or 5, you're going to end up winning at the end of the day. And the first glimpse for me was I got to the end of the day after a heavy patient day, and I was like, wait, why do I feel like I can see 3 more patients, 4 more patients? Why am I not tired right now? That was a big realization for me. So the thing is consistency. Some people wake up with really high energy, but 2 p.m. they're burnt, they're done. And the thing here is accumulation, right? It's cumulative. So if you're already feeling burnt out because you didn't recover from the winter break because you partied too hard or you had family over or whatever, you're already starting the year with not your whole self. And one of the most powerful lines I've learned in my career is you can't pour from an empty cup. So guys, we're going to teach you here how to fill up your cups, reclaim your energy, and go. So I'll hand it over to Andrew because he is an absolute machine on this side.
So thanks, brother. That was awesome. Super inspiring. And for those that don't know Ricky and haven't seen him over the past 2-3 months, since he decided that, there are more patients out there that need me on my A game, and being excellent at 80% wasn't enough for him. Now, his patients were getting amazing results. Don't get me wrong. That's not the challenge here. The challenge was after a long day, he would feel burnt out. And so practitioner burnout, professional burnout, super common. I mean, that's probably the biggest epidemic right now. Forget all, the heart disease, the cancers, all the other major challenges. It's energy. If we focused on energy, everything would change. So, you know, when you're headed down a road, or you've heard of the stories where someone's headed down a road and you see the warning signs, or the signs that say construction up ahead. Like, are you going to wait to make changes when you're finally crashed into the construction zone, like some people have? I think I saw it about a month ago. Someone literally crashed through a construction zone and went down into a pit of some kind. And for many of us, like, I wasn't lucky enough to see the sign, and I got to a point where I crashed. So if you're feeling like, you know, I can't think straight, I don't have enough energy in the evening, and I just feel like I got to veg because it gives me that like lightness. No, what it's doing is you're actually being programmed to go into someone else's life because you're checking out of yours. And so there's a couple of things here. Number one, don't take our word for it. What is energy? That's great. Maybe it's not registering for you, but I will ask you this. What if you had more energy? What would that do for you? And better yet, if it's still like, well, no, I'm pretty good. Well, is pretty good enough for your wife? Is pretty good enough for your kids who don't seem to have daddy in the evening or on the weekend because you're checked out to Sunday football? And there's nothing wrong with football, but you're going to spend your whole day sitting in front of the TV. How much energy are you really creating and sharing with your loved ones? Like, oh yeah, they scored. Good for you. Why don't you go do something meaningful now? Like, go hug your wife and kids and play with them, and, you know, get up and get moving. The science proves it. Every 52 minutes, we actually need movement. So who needs you on your A game? Because sometimes our energy is only important in growing when our necessity goes up, our drive. And so don't wait until you're bottomed out and you're like, Ricky, I'm broken. Help me, right? We should, in fact, have a program that, like, we should charge more for people that show up to us and they've waited too long. Because I know that stuff, it just requires more time and patience, not just on our end, but on yours. So the big one is, who needs you on your A game? And better yet, what kind of energy are you going to create? And what is that good for? What is that going to do for your life? If you had 3 times more energy right now, write that down. If you had 3 times more energy right now, what would you do with it? How would you share it? How would you support others? And so, Ricky, how's that one feeling for you?
Yeah, no, you said it. That's why I wanted to hand it off to you, because you force people to answer these tough questions. I know a lot of people who listen to podcasts, including myself, or they listen to books. One of the issues sometimes is that you're driving when you're listening to them. So you never actually sit down and answer these questions, but really answer these questions, because they're going to show you who you're letting down in your life, what you're not accomplishing in your life. And the foundation is energy. And when we're feeling crappy energy, guess what? Like, let's say you make it home at 7 p.m., you're starving, you had a long day, you have poor energy, nothing's cooked, nothing's in the fridge. What are you going to do? You're probably not going to make the best decision on the food front. You're probably going to hit up a drive-through. You're probably going to hit up some sort of convenience food option. If your wife tells you, oh, did you forget to take out the garbage again? You're going to be a lot more prone to snapping at her, right? You're a completely different person when your tank is empty. And what we're trying to do here is really just explode the myth that you wake up with all this energy and you kind of just use it up throughout the day. That is absolutely false. You create energy during the day. And we're not just talking about mitochondrial energy. Like, energy is systemic. People that have dopamine issues, dopamine is your motivational and reward chemical. We call it your get stuff done neurotransmitter. Usually use a more harsh word for stuff there, but it's what gets you to do things. And when you wake up with higher dopamine and you create these opportunities to manage your dopamine better, you're going to be a way more productive person. But take someone who has any sort of vice, any sort of addiction. If they're addicted to smoking, for example, or happy hour at the bar, what they're essentially doing every time they get one of these pleasureful items is it gives them a fake uptick of dopamine. So this is the smoker that has to go out every hour, hour and a half. They get through their 8-10 hour workday like that, but they're giving themselves these artificial steps, and that's going to catch up to you. That's not something that the body likes doing. It's actually the root of addiction. These things just explode your brain with dopamine, illicit substances and things like that. So we want to be very, very intentional with what we do. But if you had all this energy, it's a domino effect. If you had energy, guess what? You're probably going to be a better performer at work. in your relationships. You're probably going to take care of yourself way better. You're probably going to have more pleasurable activities that are meaningful to you, that are impactful to you, and you're going to live an intentional life, right? We're all here for such a short period of time. Two people can experience the exact same life. Like if we just took one person, he had shitty energy, he never really did anything about it, and we took another person and he had great energy and they had the exact same life events. I know this isn't a realistic example, but just for illustration purposes, they're going to experience life completely differently. They're going to experience the onset of chronic disease completely differently. So energy is the absolute foundation. You must create it. So start your day with that in mind. Like, what am I doing right now to create energy? I actually can't take the camera off, but right beside my desk here, I have a rebounder. It's a mini trampoline, right? So if I'm feeling like I'm working from home, I have lots of emails to do, if I have a lot of sort of just admin type work to do, or just at a computer, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of lull, instead of reaching for a coffee, I'm going to do a couple of 30-second sprints on the rebounder, just get the blood flowing again, right? And you don't even need that. Like Andrew, we can do this in a separate video, Andrew, is just take them through your energy.
I say this is a good, we'll do it as a teaser to energy, and the next week we'll continue energy, Ricky, and then we'll jump into morning routines, and I'll show you the technology I have in my home, and we'll actually do a rebounding vibration edition.
Nice.
Get your head out of the gutter. And do some inversions. So I'll even take you into the sauna. And so the one thing here that I think also will hit home for you is energy isn't just that, oh, I'm like, do you want to be more happy? Do you want to have more joy? Bring the joy. And if you could bring more joy into your relationships and into your work, right? Even if you're a janitor, could you be more pleasant? And what would that do? Because guess what? Maybe that smile or that hello as you're cleaning the bathrooms, somebody in a suit walks in, sees that attitude. It's not the first time this has happened. And he says, who are you and what are you up to? And big opportunities come from that. Jim Carrey was literally a janitor. Like, you want to talk about energy? That guy is ridiculous. Now, that's a whole other physiology mastery topic because of his expressions and gestures and his voice. And that actually creates energy. That's the science of energy, is you can use your electrical distribution channels inside your voice box to send energy through. And so the one thing I want to say is, don't think of energy as sort of a two or even one-dimensional plane. Think of even your emotion. Because emotion's just energy in motion. And if you're emotionless, then you're energyless. If you're not having enough happiness and joy and that feeling and ongoing excitement, that's on you. And the more you carry that around with you, the more it impacts other people. I can't believe how many people come in a session and instead of forcing, as Ricky might have said, I present the opportunity for you to confront or to see a different way, right? There's no forcing here. But the idea is that people often have to force themselves to get up out of bed. Yeah, I get that. Force themselves to get up from the couch. Force themselves to put down, the Coca-Cola and to get some water. I get that. There's a lot of forcing going on. But here's the thing. How many people do I talk to that complain about the others around them, their energy? Oh, well, my clinic and it's the people and my team or my family and this and so I have one client and he literally says, like, when he's out in public in the Toronto area, it's like people make him feel by those around him. I'm like, good. So elevate your jive and do something about that. Right? And lift the energetic weight that's being held by so many people. And you can't do that by getting into the quicksand with them. Get some stable footing. Master yourself. My husband's the one that doesn't have the energy. Good. How's your energy? And can you bring it up a notch and lead by example? Share as an example instead of telling as an example. Excuse me.
Yeah, be living proof, right? You have to be the change you want to see in others. So I think Andrew made a great point here. Like, we have too many recommendations for one podcast episode here. What we're going to do next week is do episode 2, just a follow-up of this. So part 2, I should say. And we're going to get ultra practical. We're going to tell you the exact steps that we use, how we structure our day. So next week, we're going to make it about routines. We're going to tell you how we create energy and keep consistent energy throughout the day so you can get the best out of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if you do have any questions, this is a good time to write them down about energy or something you might be dealing with, and a deficit for Ricky or for myself, and post those questions here so that we can answer them on the next show, because we're going to start doing some continuation shows. That way we start building some higher level thinking around a given topic, and hopefully that helps you see that energy is a choice. It comes from emotion. And you do have everything you need right now. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. Have an energetic week. Good start to your year. I know it's the first year back, so hit it with high performance, hit it with full energy, and let's make 2019 the best year ever. Take care, guys.